NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 385 of the NYYST podcast. We are presented by NYY Underground. I am your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You
and SGR.
Okay.
Well, you know, I wish this would be a happier occasion, but it's not, because it's Thursday night here as we sit down and record, and the Yankees just proved what we had felt about them, is that they're not quite ready to be taken seriously as championship contenders, as they went down to Baltimore after scoring 30 runs in 2 games in Milwaukee and then proceeded to score 6 runs in 4 games where they lost 3 out of 4 in Baltimore. But before we get into the series, we want to make sure that you're subscribed to the NYYST podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe to NYY Underground on YouTube, and make sure you tell everybody we are the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey. Although I don't know how much longer I can do this, because it's absolutely frustrating to sit there and watch the New York Yankees just continue what has plagued them since midway of 2022, where this offense is a one-man show. And unfortunately, this year, the one man is not Aaron Judge. It's Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge on May 2nd is hitting under 200. And the Yankees are not scoring runs. What happened in Milwaukee is the blip on the radar. It's just absolutely frustrating. There's nothing worse than watching a team that is just dead offensively. They have to do something here in the short term to try to spark this offense, whether that's moving Verdugo to the leadoff spot, dropping Volpe back down to 6, because right now you're watching a team that cannot get out of its own way, and batting Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton in any order you want. 3, 4, and 5 is just 3 guys that are hitting the ball on the ground way too much right now, and I can't believe I'm saying this about Judge, but he's unathletic and are just hitting into way too many double plays, killing whatever rallies that might be getting started. We're going on, like I said, 2.5 years of this now, where the Yankees are just inept offensively. And it's frustrating to sit here and watch that. You were hoping that going into Baltimore, getting at least a split, and they couldn't even get out of their own way to score enough runs to beat Baltimore on outside of today, where their pitching was really good for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, right? Because I feel like we've been so not negative, but we've had a lot of concerns despite winning. And we keep saying over and over, we're just looking big picture. And, you know, the only thing I'll say at this point in the show, because there's obviously more specific things we need to fucking pick apart, but I'll say this. There's someone on Twitter who, you know, I personally have gone at it with. We talked privately. We're not friends by any means, but I'm not going to sit here and say their name and rip them. I just want to make a point. There's someone who has a decent amount of followers talking about how Yankee fans are complaining, but they're on pace to win 97 games. And here's the issue with that argument. First of all, you're ignoring what you're watching. That's the first thing. Because in the same breath of saying they're on pace to win 97 games, if they went on a 10-game losing streak, you'd also say, hey, it's still early. Right? So you can't have it both ways.
We're past early now.
You're past early at this point, but here's the bigger thing. You want to play the game of on pace to make your argument of why Yankee fans shouldn't be concerned.
What were they on pace for when they were
12-3? Are we on the same page lately or what? Because when the Yankees just a couple weeks ago were 12-3, Christian, I have it on my calculator here. I don't know if you know this, but the Yankees were on pace to win 130 games.
Oh.
So you want to look again, not ripping this person specifically. I'm just talking big picture because this is now the narrative of the people who need to defend the Yankees at all costs. You want to play the game of they're on pace for this. They have 20 wins. You want to play this game, we'll play it. They were on pace to win 130 games. Was that realistic? No. But if you're making the argument now of 97 games, that's a pretty big fucking drop-off if you ask me. 33 games in a couple weeks. It's a pretty big drop-off. So, yeah, I'm concerned. Am I like in the moment, do I flip out to you guys? Yeah, but realistically, rationally, am I freaking out just yet? No, I'm going to wait until Memorial Day.
They're under 500 for a longer stretch than they were 12-3.
Really?
Right? Because they're
since they got to 12-3.
What are they? 8? What's their
10.
record? They're 8-10 now. Yeah, they're 8.
8-10.
Their first 15 games they went 12-3, and then their last 18 they went 8-10. So that's not a good pace there. That pace
No, it's not a good pace, but it is close to 500 over a stretch of about 20 games. That's something that I feel, if you can do that for a large chunk of the year, that's fine. And then if you are doing that, then this team is going to need another 1 or 2 more 10-2 runs.
They're not going to sustain 10-2 runs because they don't score runs, which is a major problem for them. They don't score runs. They don't score runs. They don't score runs. I've repeated it. So maybe the people that are listening to this show right now that are say, oh, we're 20-13. They don't score runs. Nothing has changed from last year.
Or the year before.
Since pretty much midway of 2022, they don't score runs. It doesn't matter who you bring in here. The Yankees are carried by one person, and the rest of the team doesn't do anything. Now, why Aaron Judge has decided to play like a literal bum is beyond me. I don't know. This is also not going to turn into an Aaron Judge hate show. I am not going to look. It's America. You guys want to take your turns pissing on Aaron Judge? Go right ahead. I'm not going to sit here and waste my breath destroying the captain of the Yankees. He's too important and he's too valuable to the success of this team.
You don't have to destroy him to.
No, but there's people out there that want to tear the guy down. It was a mistake to re-sign him. It's going to be a long 7 years. The contract's aged poorly already. You know the narratives out there. Look, the Yankees cannot win the World Series with an Aaron Judge that hits under 200. Fact, not going to happen.
Under 250.
He's batting 190 something, isn't he?
I know. I'm saying even under 250 would be pushing it.
And grounded into double plays.
Which at least as of yesterday or the day before, that led
Major League Baseball.
It still does. The next closest is Bryce Harper with 7.
Aaron Judge, I don't know what is wrong with him. I look at him, and I pointed this out to you yesterday. Something looks different with his lower half at the plate. Can't put my finger on it. I don't know if his legs are farther apart than they've been. It doesn't look like he's driving the ball with his hips as much as he used to. Is it the core that he had the mid-spring beat up with that's still bothering him? Put him on the IL for 10 days. Let him rest it out. He's not doing anything to help the team right now. Wouldn't it be beneficial to maybe give him a week and a half here at this point if that's what's bothering him? Get him. And look, I'm going to make this point, and if you disagree with me, fine, go ahead. I don't I don't care at this point. Stop bringing up the toe, because to me, it's not an issue. Aaron Judge hit 18 home runs in 57 games last year after he ran into the wall. Guess what that was a pace for?
51.
51. That sound like a guy that can't hit because of the toes bothering him?
Yeah, and let me just say this, just on your point of Judge, I guess we're starting here.
The offense is the biggest problem, and he's their biggest superstar, and he's not helping the team win. Could you imagine where the Yankees would be right now if Aaron Judge was Aaron Judge with Juan Soto in this lineup? I can guarantee you they'd have at least 3 or 4 more wins right now.
Yeah, and we know how important 3 or 4 wins could be. But I'll say this, just really looking at his swing, to me, I mean, a hitter leads with his hips, right? You want your hips to come through, then your hands, and to get your arms extended to the ball. Aaron Judge is not leading with his hips. He's leading with, unfortunately, you see it the most on those outside sliders. He's leading with his upper body. And that's why on those outside sliders, he's completely missing them. Even if they're just a couple inches off the plate, they seem like they're feet off the plate because he's so far apart from them. And then he's getting these fucking cock shots down the middle.
That's the most concerning thing, is 93, 94 down the middle, and he's missing it.
Well, think about this. So that front shoulder's flying, to me at least, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I can't see it as well, but to me, it looks like his front side is leading him instead of his hips, and which is why his bottom half looks weird to you. And so once that front shoulder comes open, when you're making contact with the ball, it's not solid anymore. You're either turning your wrist over to compensate, which is why you're getting so many ground balls from him. Now, granted, he hits the ball really hard, so some of those get through, right?
They're not this year.
Well, some of them have. They've gotten down the third baseline, sometimes in between third and short.
He's not hitting the ball as hard on the ground.
But what I'm saying is, how many gappers have you seen compared to hits down the line, or
has he put any in the gap this year?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2.
Oh wow, we played 30 games.
Right. No, it's a huge concern. But my point is, that's why you're seeing him turn over on so many pitches. He's overcompensating. He's not in a good position when he's making contact. He started to look really good, and he looked like he was squaring up the ball. But overall, to me, his timing's off. I don't know if he's favoring something, and that's why his hips aren't opening up the way they should be. But he's overcompensating with that front shoulder. If I'm a pitcher, I'm throwing low and away sliders. I don't care what the count is. I don't care how many men are on base. That's all I'm throwing at Aaron Judge right now, and it's going to work 99% of the time.
And if it doesn't work on him, it'll work on Giancarlo Stanton right after.
Right.
And you know what? Judge is guessing a lot more than I've seen him guess probably since his rookie year too, which is a big problem. Why is he guessing up there so much?
Well, he's not seeing the ball. That's another issue. Is it's not just mechanical. I'd actually argue, because he's squared up on some pitches, I'd actually argue it's becoming just as much mental as anything else. Because I said to you, he looks lost. It's not just mechanical. He doesn't, and you could say the same thing about Volpe right now. I don't know if the word is approach in this sense, but it's just lost. Like, if I can sit here and tell you, like I said, I think last episode, if I can sit in my bed as a fucking loser who has never come close to playing Major League Baseball and tell you what pitch is coming, exactly the pitch, the spot, everything, and these Yankee hitters are so off, there's a problem. There's a huge fucking problem, and Volpe's doing it. Judge is doing it even more. Stanton looked fucking terrible the other day, but he's at least making contact.
Look, I hate to say this, but the Yankees need to get Giancarlo Stanton out of the lineup. They have to get him out of the lineup.
Yeah, I'm not against looking into, if Dominguez can come back healthy, if they want to ease Dominguez into it with platooning him with Stanton to, those first 2 weeks he comes back, have that be the last 2 weeks of Stanton's trial here. That's extended trial, and then you give up on him.
I never thought that we'd be at a point on May 2nd that we'd be desperate for Jason Dominguez to come back. But we are. We're in a situation here where the Yankees look old and unathletic, and they need a spark in this lineup. And
Well-
Dominguez is not close, by the way. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. But they need Jason Dominguez to come back and
Well-
and spark this team somehow.
Well, let's just take 1 second to go back because, we were talking about this privately this week. Do we fucking corner the market in downloads? No. I mean, but it feels like we fucking should sometimes because we have the narrative before anyone else. Everyone wants to argue us. And then by the time the narrative becomes the narrative that we've talked about weeks before, we're on to something else because we're ahead of the fucking curve. So if you want to tell a friend about this podcast, by the way, we'll be back on NYYU soon. We were supposed to be this week. P had stuff. He does actually have a life outside of NYYU, which is crazy because he puts so many hours into it. Okay. We will be back, but we are also audio. We have shows that don't air on NYYU. So if you're watching this or listening, whatever, make sure you subscribe. But we seem to always be ahead of the curve. And the one thing we've been talking about is how important it is to win now. Because everyone wants to talk about these prospects and when they're going to be ready and this and that. And you can't do this because in 3 years from now, it's going to hurt them. You're already seeing, and I'm not saying it's age, but you're already questioning Judge, right? Because most people are going to sit here and say, okay, even the most rational fan is sitting here saying he'll be fine. But man, is this age a little bit? Like, if this is him this year, even if he can come back and do it, when are we going to start to see age really play a factor? So it's like, even in a couple years from now, can you imagine Giancarlo Stanton 2 years from now in this lineup compared to right now? I mean, even some of the guys that we like, they're aging. Rizzo, aging. Yankees don't have a first base replacement really, other than if you're going to throw Jones there.
I love Rizzo, but I can't watch him hit lazy fly balls.
But right,
anymore.
so this is my point is why we talk about why right now is so important. 2019 was supposed to be our year, correct? After coming so close in 2017, 2019 was the year we were promised. We are now 5 years removed from that. And we've passed up on a lot of people. And people are okay with it. This team is aging. Who are you building a team around? Garrett Cole's not going to be Garrett Cole in 3 years from now. We are wasting the primes of these guys. And you're watching it unfold in front of your eyes because this is the first time for me since 2016 that I look at the Yankees and say, oh, they look old. And that was the year that we rebuilt this team.
Well, you're going to look old when you can't score runs. That's for certain. But
yeah, but it's beyond that.
Well, that shouldn't be when you have guys as young as Volpe and Soto in this lineup. But that's just the unfortunate situation right now, because you'd feel a lot better about this team if Gleyber Torres had a pulse, which he doesn't. That home run today, down 7-1, it means nothing to me. Why don't you do that? In a better situation. I hope he gets hot. I really do. I really hope Gleyber Torres gets hot and can start to look like All-Star Gleyber. But he's just been lost, completely lost, and you cannot sustain this. It's not a sustainable situation. Okay, and I tweeted this on Wednesday. Think about this for a second now. Garrett Cole, the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, has not thrown one pitch for the New York Yankees all season. And you can honestly say that it has not affected the Yankees' win-loss record. Why? Because they, by and large, have gotten good starting pitching. except for Carlos Rodon today, was one of the few handful of starts that they've gotten that has not been good this year. Their problem, again, is they can't score runs. And you got people like Chris Kirschner who covers the Yankees for the Athletic saying they're a top 9 offense. Bro, you and I both know those fucking numbers are inflated because they scored 30 runs in 2 games in Milwaukee. And since when do we strive to be the top 9 of anything? We're the Yankees, bro. Top 3, top 4 offense I want to be talking about. Top 9. What the hell does that even mean to me?
Yeah. And just to clarify, when I said we'd be back on NYYU, this will be premiering. I meant live because people were asking me about us being live. But the problem, all right, so I think we should take a couple minutes just to break this down. And I know you tweeted this, Christian. There's a difference between worrying about Judge and worrying about Gleyber. And you can even throw Stanton into this equation. Aaron Judge is the captain of this team. Aaron Judge has a huge contract for how many more years? 7?
Yep.
Aaron Judge is going to be the captain for 7 more years of this team. Aaron Judge is the American League home run king. Aaron Judge is an MVP, should be 2-time MVP. Aaron Judge was Rookie of the Year. Aaron Judge is the face of this team and arguably, in some cases, of baseball.
He's the face of baseball that is not involved in a betting scandal.
Right. When you talk about Gleyber Torres, even if you said this, even if he had a great year this year, I can't even sit here and guarantee he'd be a Yankee next year.
It would have surprised me, even if he had like a 2019 resurgence. It would surprise me.
So now we're looking at a guy whose value had skyrocketed compared to what it was after last season. And now he's sitting here and it's not just offense, which offense is our biggest issue, but it's not just offense. It's fucking everything. And it pains me. And maybe I don't think you feel this way, but I actually really love Gleyber Torres. I really like him. There's guys who have sucked on this Yankees team over the years that I've grown to despise. Aaron Hicks. I love Gleyber Torres. I want
DFA'd again, Aaron Hicks. But you remember when it was our fault? Remember when it was the Yankee fans' fault? Okay.
Yeah. For Gleyber, it's not just I don't just want him to succeed for the Yankees. I've said this before. I want him to succeed for Gleyber Torres. I think he's passionate out there. He does work hard. It's just not working.
It was sorry, keep going, Chris.
No. I was just saying it's just not working, and I think the Yankees have to get to a point where they have to shit or get off the pot with him.
It was just a breath of fresh air to hear Aaron Boone actually kind of have a criticism for Gleyber Torres. That was that yesterday's game with the ball off his glove.
When he hit the runner? I think it was when he hit the runner. When he threw the ball to third, he tried to get out there.
It was the error, yeah.
Today.
I didn't hear what he said. I didn't see any of the game today. I was following on my phone and heard bits.
Yeah, right. It was today. Here's the quote. So on Gleyber Torres' error. He's got to secure the ball. It's the big leagues. You got to make the play, and he didn't make the play.
Wow.
I don't know if he was trying to do too much. He's made that play a lot. He didn't in that spot.
Oh wow, that's hurtful, bro.
For Boone,
that's hurtful.
So
he didn't get it. He didn't get his cupcake on the plane ride home.
Or he couldn't take a nap too.
I think this is a good segue into this real quick because I wanted to ask you guys. It's gotten to a point now where it can't. There has to be an answer, right? Because there's so many different players in this lineup this year. and yet we're still seeing the same patterns. So there has to be a quantitative answer, at least in my opinion. So what do you think it is? Is it coaching? Is it the mentality? And I'll even throw this in there because he's not a winner yet. Is it the leadership? What? I know we all love Aaron Judge. I'm not questioning that. I fucking love the guy to death. He's one of my favorite Yankees of all time.
Okay, but you're going to blame him right now.
Maybe I will, and maybe you should be more willing to do so. I mean, I'm not saying that would be right. All I'm saying is, could that be a question? I mean, we've entered an era just in life in general where everyone is softer. Are we too soft here? Is there not enough leadership to sit these guys down and say, wake the fuck up? You guys are disgusting. This is gross. Or is it behind closed doors, or is it hey guys, we'll get there. It's okay.
Look. Aaron Boone cannot be that guy, okay? There were reports in the offseason that Yankee higher-ups wanted him to be tougher on the players, and that is never going to work. You can be remember when Tom Coughlin, he came into the Giants and everybody hated him because he was a hard ass, and Michael Strahan had a big beef with him, and then he softened up. You can go from hard ass to a little bit softer, and your players will respect you because you're accommodating them in that situation, like you're meeting them in the middle. You can't go from being a fucking pushover to now being a drill sergeant, because they will see right past that shit. It's not who you are, and they have no respect for you. And my one big true knock on Aaron Judge is that he goes to bat almost out of his way for Aaron Boone. Well, we're all watching a guy that clearly is in over his head managing his ball club.
But isn't that a reflection of his leadership?
I'm
not sitting here trying to rip Aaron
because
Judge.
You want to know why I separate the difference? Because he is an elite player. Not good. He is elite.
I'm talking about leadership in the clubhouse.
He can lead on the field, okay? Because
I need a guy who can lead in the clubhouse. That's what I'm questioning.
Yeah, well, Derek Jeter was never the greatest leader. Everybody knows who was the real enforcer of that team. Derek Jeter went out there and set examples based on what he did on the field. And then if he needed somebody, maybe he needs somebody like Jorge Posada to go in there and lay down the law. Maybe he needs an enforcer type. Derek Jeter was never the in-your-face, you better fucking cut the shit out type of guy.
But what's the biggest difference between Jeter and Judge as far as when the team is doing poorly?
Okay.
He would hold them accountable.
I'm just making a point. I'm not countering you. I'm not countering you at all.
Derek Jeter was also on. Derek Jeter won, so that's what everybody's argument is.
But but when they weren't winning, what would Derek Jeter say?
He would hold them accountable for sure.
He would hold them accountable,
and Judge doesn't do that.
That's not a philosophy anymore for the Yankees. It's not about being the New York Yankees anymore. It's just about being like any other team. You get in the dance, you have a chance.
And that's not on Judge. That's on the higher ups.
It's hard.
Right. It's top down.
Hard to expect the players to say it when the boss won't say it.
Right.
And there's the philosophy of the mind and the mindset of this ball club that everything's fine. We're gonna get in. The numbers are this. The numbers are that. And it's just that is not the Yankee way. The Yankee way is we don't look like World Series contenders, and that's a major problem.
A huge problem. And again, I'm not sitting here like freaking out. It's May 2nd right now.
Right. It's
still so early. This is exactly why I don't get too excited when they're 12-3. I'm also not gonna get like too crazy now that they're not scoring runs. But the problem is when you have emotion, and I always tell this to my fucking kids, everything. And by the way, happy birthday to your daughter. Okay.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday.
Okay. I say this to my kids, and you actually say this, Christian, all the time. Follow the evidence of how you're feeling emotionally, and does it line up with reality? Like, we all get emotional in situations. So if we're feeling emotional right now, let's line it up with with what reality is for
The
us.
reality is this team doesn't score
Right.
runs, and that's
they
why.
haven't.
And they haven't. And if the Yankees were losing games because Garrett Cole's not out there and Luis Heel, who was fantastic on
Unbelievable.
Wednesday night, is technically his replacement and was getting out there and getting lit up every time out, and they were losing games 9-8, 7-5, but they were scoring every night, but just didn't have the pitching to keep up, then you would feel differently and say, hey, when Cole comes back, things are going to change. Garrett Cole, I've been saying this all off season and probably into before the season ended because we knew Cole was winning the Cy Young Award. Garrett Cole, best starting pitching performance from a Yankee in 45 years. Okay? 45 years. Think about how long that is. That's longer than I've been on this friggin' earth. 45 years. And it meant absolutely nothing because the team couldn't score runs. And if you're getting tired of me saying that, then get it through your friggin' head that the reason why we're down on this team is because they have not fixed the problem. They thought they did, but Juan Soto alone didn't help. And Alex Verdugo, as good as he's been, Alex Verdugo's not a game changer. He's a piece of the puzzle.
So I don't want to harp on this too much, but we had an episode, and you guys can go back to it, after they switched Volpe. And it's not the argument of can he be a leadoff guy. The argument is as simple as this. Don't fix something that's not broken. Since they did that, this has been a completely different offense. You can't argue that. You cannot argue that this team has looked completely different since they switched him and put Gleyber down there and put Volpe leadoff. That has been the marker of when this team has started to look fucking inconsistent, anemic, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
And
10
Aaron-
and 11 cents.
Yeah, well, there you go. And Aaron Boone was asked today, are you thinking about switching Judge and Soto? And he said no. And what he said was excuse me, something to the effect of, boy, somebody's going to pay and it's going to be, whatever the hell he said.
Just
Look,
wait. Just
yeah,
wait.
just wait.
Just wait until he starts banging.
Somebody's going to pay.
We are going to start banging.
Yeah, the fans are going to have to
We're the
fucking
ones.
pay.
First, we're the ones paying right now. Okay, look, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and you could say it was to get Gleyber going, and that could be your reasoning. But the team was fucking rolling, so there was no real reason to do it. You made a lineup switch, then you made another one. You put Verdugo in the cleanup spot. You scored a shit ton of runs, and then did you hear his reason why he didn't bat Verdugo cleanup today?
No.
Because he didn't get in till 1 o'clock in the morning.
So what does that mean? What? And then I said this to you guys before the game. I saw Verdugo was in fourth. I'm like, wasn't that the lineup where they scored 30 runs in 2 games?
He got in really late last night. Congratulations.
So what does
to
that
Alfred.
mean? He needed it. What did he take, a 15-minute nap until his first at bat?
Well, congratulations to Alex Verdugo, and I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend, but the mother of his child. They had a baby over the week, and then he was out on paternity leave for the first 3 games of the series. So congratulations to him. But I mean, like, what is if you were that concerned about him getting away, why'd you play him today? What is 2 spots in the lineup going to do? I don't. That was mind-boggling to me that I heard that. But look, Aaron Boone is the one constant here. And then, look, we all know what happened in Milwaukee on Friday night. We're not going to get into that again. But then we're watching, I forget if it was Monday or Tuesday. I thought I was on fucking mushrooms, like honestly, and thought I was hallucinating. That we're sitting here talking about pace management with Clay Holmes and why you're punting on a game you have a lead in the 10th inning in, and you're pitching him in a game where you're trailing in the 8th inning.
Yeah. That was Monday, I believe.
How about how about last night when he used him in the 8th?
No, but listen, that was absolutely the right move.
Hold on, it is the right move. Because it is the right move. That also should have been the right move in Milwaukee.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm not
Right.
going to.
So my point is, why is it the right move now for him and not then?
Well, did you know what Boone said?
Yeah.
That's the game right there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, dummy, you had
But
a
here-
lead.
Look,
I can't,
I'm
I
not trying
can't
to
do
beat
it.
a dead
I
horse
can't do it anymore.
because in Milwaukee, the argument doesn't even have to be Clay Holmes. Like, if that's his argument, fine. There were better options still than fucking Tonkin. But let's just move.
Maybe
past
I
it.
don't. I don't know. Maybe we went through that the other day, but
Let's just move past it. I just want to say this.
doesn't anybody? Are we the only ones watching this? Do you not
No.
understand?
No, it's gotten out of control, but here's the main point that we need to focus on. For the first time in a couple years, I can't blame Aaron Boone other than that loss in Milwaukee. Like, I don't blame him anymore. Maybe behind the scenes I do, like for what we were talking about, but I can't blame him for what I'm watching anymore. We're getting consistent lineups. We're getting guys not fucking being benched every other day.
Well, here I'm going to put it to you just plain and simple, right? Here's why the team's not scoring runs. Anthony Volpe's batting out of position, and yes, for people that think you can just pull names out of a lineup, pull names out of a hat, and put them anywhere, and it doesn't matter. It matters, okay? Juan Soto is early track to be an MVP so far. I mean, can you argue that?
Of course.
Of course.
Thank God.
Right? You got Aaron Judge. I don't know. We went through it. I don't know. I don't have answers. I wish I did. So right there is number exhibit A of why the Yankees aren't scoring. You need Aaron Judge to be Aaron Judge. Rizzo, old, hits a couple of home runs. You feel like maybe there's something there, and then he just ground ball, pop up. Stan is just, I hate to say it, man, but like he had that one hot streak a few weeks ago, and then what's it really been since? Sliders away. There's Giancarlo Stanton swinging at sliders away, as always. Verdugo, okay, no complaint. I can't really complain about Alex Verdugo. I think he's done his job, and I think he's performed to the level I expected him to.
The new Yankees have lifted this team exactly where you thought they would.
But again, as I said a few minutes ago, Alex Verdugo was not brought here to change the game. Alex Verdugo was there to supplement the game, to be a part of the puzzle.
And bring balance to the lineup.
Right? Gleyber Torres, I don't even have words for how bad Gleyber Torres has been. The catching spot, for the most part, has been a dead spot in this lineup. Wells had a couple.
Trevino's been okay.
He's been okay, but I mean, by and large, nothing really,
awful behind the plate.
But Wells looked like he was getting going 2 games in a row there in Baltimore. What happened on?
He died.
Yeah, benched. All right, God forbid the guy plays 3 games in a row,
Dead.
benched. And Oswaldo Cabrera is not an everyday player, and I think we're seeing that. Yes, he hit the home run, the only runs they scored and the only win they had. But he's hitting what? Ryan, can you look this up, please? What is he? He's in the 250s now, right?
Have you not seen it? Oh, dude, what do you not have it on gallery mode? What do you have it on speaker mode?
I don't know. You want to know what it is? It's because I don't look at the I don't look when I'm talking.
Gotcha. Let's just do this until SGR gets back. Okay, I'm going to give you a situation. You name the guys you absolutely want at the plate. Bases loaded.
Juan Soto.
Yankees down.
Juan Soto.
1 run.
Juan Soto.
Bases loaded. 2
Juan
outs
Soto.
in the ninth. Juan Soto. Who else? Who else do you absolutely want up there? Not who would be okay up there. Who do you want?
I want Judge in that spot. I do. Even as bad as he's been, I want him to be.
No. I'm talking about how they perform, not your emotions.
Juan Soto. Do you want?
So that's
you want
it.
to ask it again? Who else?
So that's it.
Who else?
Okay.
Maybe
Who-
maybe
so
Verdugo.
now,
Maybe.
well, hold on. I'm getting to that. Now name the guys who maybe you'd be okay with. Verdugo.
Yeah. No. Well, Volpe.
right now,
I like him in a big spot though.
maybe.
Cabrera's hitting 252 with an OPS of 691 right now. So it's just showing you like how far he fell and that he's not cut out to be an everyday player. I mean,
So let's just go back to this real quick. Who's the maybe guys that you'd maybe want up there with bases loaded after? Soto?
you know what? You're gonna think I'm crazy for saying this. Trevino is one of them. Is a
Okay.
maybe.
Hey, that's fair because he's had some big hits.
He always seems to. He always seems to
You find the
find the.
yeah.
Find
All right,
himself
so
in those.
Trevino, Verdugo, right? And maybe you'd throw Cabrera in there. SGR said Volpe. I right now would disagree, but I agree with the fact that he does come up in some big spots.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem is there's one guy when there's runners in scoring position in a big spot that you say, I'm actually confident. And when the season first started, after the first few games, it was almost everybody that you felt like, fuck it, they'll find a way. Now, I mean, most of these guys, you're just pretty much turning the television off. You're pretty much sitting there defeated by the time they hit the batter's
Do you know how
box.
consistent Soto's been this year?
It's unbelievable.
Last 7 games, 385. Last 15 games, 339, and he's hitting overall in his last 30. I guess that goes back to last year, but he's hitting 331 on the season. So he's been.
It's unreal. Is he up to 331 now?
Well, that's what MLB.com has him at. So he had 2 hits today. So I'm assuming that's accurate. It's crazy, man. It's just look. There's 2 things I want to get to. I know we need to kind of get towards the finish line here, but there's 2 things I want to get to. Number one, and I'm not gonna. I don't want this to be a fan bashing thing either, but you have to understand something. If you want to be one of these pie in the sky, and I'll use the term cuck fans for the organization, you can do that. Okay. That you, like I always say, you do you fan how you want to fan, right? But you also have to understand something. And maybe you don't because that's just your mentality. This is a flawed team that we're watching. Okay. This is everybody that is pointing out the team's flaws has every right to do so. Okay. This is not like in 2019 or whatever it was when we used to fight negative fans because you really had nothing to base that off of. Like I always say, follow the evidence. What has this team done since midway point of 22? Not score runs. And
That's why they've been a 500 team.
And that is what, and you should be scared. Like I said earlier, you should be scared of that is the reason why they are losing. If they were losing slugfest every night, at least I could sit there and say, this offense is really good. When Garrett Cole comes back, we'll get the pitching right. But that's not happening. They're losing in the same manner that they've lost for the last year and a half into 2024 now. They don't score runs. So don't sit there and come at people like me that want to point that out and come at people on NYYU, our brothers in arms over here, and other fans that want to point out this inept offense and say that we don't know what we're talking about or that, we're just too negative because it is factual. This team doesn't score fucking runs.
Well,
so please understand that. And if the Yankees were winning 2-0 every night like they did on Wednesday, it would still be a problem because you cannot sustain that over 162 games.
And the biggest problem for me at this point, because each year you take it for what it is, and when you're seeing the same things, it's one thing, right? Up until this past year, we saw the same things over and over, and we blamed the front office. I mean, we said like, yeah, what do you expect? You're putting the same product out there year after year, and you're expecting different results. This year, the biggest concern for me is they added Juan Soto. They have Aaron Judge in this lineup. They have lefty righty.
Well, they have somebody that calls himself Aaron Judge in this lineup.
Well, again, if you want to break down the specifics, of course, we did that already. My point is, big picture, things have changed. We have better hitters in this lineup, and yet we're getting the same results right now. Maybe that changes. That was my point in the beginning of the show of what's the answer, because there has to be one now, right? We've had change. So it can't just be that there's no change. It has to be something else. It has to be either leadership. It has to be hitting coach. It has to be something.
I think I just got here. I'm not blaming.
No.
I can't blame him.
Look, I'm not trying to blame anyone. All I'm saying is, when there's a problem, the number one thing to fixing it is pinpointing the problem. So to me, it's like you have all the
the one thing
changes. What's the problem?
What's the one thing that hasn't changed?
The manager, the GM.
Oh, there you go. So,
oh well, yeah. I mean, look, don't even get me started with that. We've been saying it for too long. So, yeah, there you go. Maybe I'll go back to, I don't know what episode it was, when I said, I promise you, this team will not win under this leadership as far as front office is concerned. So maybe I'll just stick with that. Maybe that is the fucking answer. Maybe I am the genius here somehow, that it is that. I don't know.
I would never label you as a genius.
Oh, maybe I am.
Yeah, tough for me to do.
But
yeah, I don't know. You just want them to go into a postseason as contenders and not as a team that's going to win it by chance or by luck or having things break their way like every other team. You just want them to be legit contenders, and they're not.
No,
look,
you're right, 100%.
We felt so good about the Yankees the first week of the season because we said they went out there, they swept the Houston Astros. What a statement. That was a 4-game set, right? Yeah.
Yep.
4 games. They went out there, they made a statement. Not that you want to say that they slayed the dragon, because you got to do that in the postseason, but they went out there, they took care, they went out there and that ghost, that demon that was haunting them, they went out there and they showed you that this year's going to be different, right? That was the statement that they made. And then they've been playing 500 baseball for the last couple of weeks. They come off that series against Milwaukee where they look like they were an all-world offensive team, and you said to yourself, now they're in Baltimore. This is the other team that you have to worry about in the American League. And until Houston is eliminated, and I don't care what the record is, I'm still always going to put them and give them the respect that they deserve, okay? So I'm saying the other team that you have to worry about, the Baltimore Orioles. This team won 100 games last year. This team won the division last year. This team is going to be there lockstep with you, battling. You're hopeful anyway, battling them for the division throughout the course of the summer, right? And what did you do? You lost 3 out of 4. And again, that's bad enough on its own. You go into a division rival's house, a team that you're fighting for first place over, and you lose 3 out of 4. That's bad enough. That would put us in a mood coming on here and recording. But you scored 6 runs in 4 games. That is pathetic. And anybody that responded to my tweet that's saying that my take is pathetic, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. When you go into Baltimore and score 6 runs in 4 games, that is a pathetic excuse of a performance that the Yankees gave us this week.
Okay.
And it just showed how far away they are from being a real championship team right now. Again,
right now. That's a huge thing to add. Right now.
And people are like, well, this isn't going to be the team on August 1st. You know what? I sure as fuck hope that it's not, okay? I really hope that it's not. But it's not August 1st, pal. It's May 2nd. And we have to come on here and click record 2 times a week. And we have to sit here and react to what we have seen in the past couple of days. Not what the team will look like in August, because we have no freaking clue what it's going to look like in August. Because right now, after you go into Baltimore and you shit the bed basically all 4 games, and the only reason why you won a game is because Luis Heel was outstanding and Aaron Boone pulled the right fucking button, pushed the right button in the 8th inning and brought out Clay Holmes, who you got to give him a fucking credit, was devastating.
Oh,
devastating.
Filthy.
That's the only reason why you won. Because in a normal day, 2 runs probably doesn't hold up.
Yeah, and before you get to the second point, I just want to say it doesn't matter how good the Orioles are. Baltimore is a home away from home for the Yankees. I mean, they have won so many big games there. They have won so many games there. It's like,
yeah, but this is a good team now. It's not.
Yeah, but so they were. What was it? 1990, I think. When the Orioles were good back then too, and the Yankees always won in Baltimore. So it's just another stat to add on.
So you want to talk again? We always touch on the starting pitching as we go through these series here, and in the NYYU chat, Big Kev, of Bronx or Nothing, love him. It's my boy. Told me I have to apologize to Nestor, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought Nestor Cortez could be anything but a fucking bum. Okay. I'm sorry that I thought that he could be a reliable piece in this rotation. Goes out there, gives up 4 runs on Monday night. Bum Nestor. Okay. Look, Nestor was fine. Okay. He's been overall pretty good this year, and he's had some really great outings. He's had some outings that have not been so good, but for the most part, if Nestor Cortez gives you how long did he go the other night? 5, 6?
5 and 5 plus, maybe 5.
I just had it up.
I'll pull it up. Just keep talking.
While SGR pulls it up, I'll just say this: for Yankees starting pitching, I'm looking for depth, and don't give up 7 runs like today. But
I'm sorry, that was actually Tuesday's game. Schmidt pitched on.
Did you want Schmidt's number or
Nestor Cortez? Look, if Cortez, I'm not saying that I'm happy about it, but if Nestor Cortez gives me 4 over 6, I gotta find a way to win that game.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're taking 4 runs in 6 innings from Nestor. You what do we always say? It's not even the quality, it's the quantity sometimes. And if you could get me 6 with 4 runs, that should be enough with an offense that has so many guys making $20 million or more.
And Rive, what was Schmidt?
Oh shit.
Schmitty?
Oh Schmidt. I wasn't looking him up.
Oh Schmidt.
Schmidt the other night though, wasn't he into the 7th?
Yeah, 5 and 2/3 innings, 1 earned run.
5 and 2.
Was that the first batter of the game he gave up the home run? No,
I believe was that to Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson.
Yeah, it was like the first pitch.
Yeah, 5 and 2/3.
I mean, Schmidt, that was his longest
1 run. That was it.
1 earned, yeah.
Dude, he's been so
319
good.
319 on the year.
He's been so good.
And a team ERA of 3.07 for the Yankees. That's good for
really
second in all of baseball.
Come on.
Man,
This
dude,
team?
just every year, isn't this the case where we underestimate the pitching and we overestimate the offense, and then it turns out that it's flipped, and then now eventually, right, what will happen next? The offense will start to click, and then what's going to happen? The pitching will start to fall apart.
Yeah,
and then it's going to go back, and then maybe they'll be good for 5 games, and we'll say that this team is back to being World Series contenders, and then they'll get shut out the next night. Pitching will look good, hitting will look good. Then the defense maybe messes things up. It's just
the Yankees are not a good defensive team, which is another problem.
No,
true.
They're not a good defensive team, which is. I mean, think of Judge playing out of position in center field. Verdugo's good, but he's not a great left fielder. Juan Soto, he's been better than advertised, but I still wouldn't call him great out in right field. Cabrera is serviceable at third base. Volpe's made 4 errors already on the year, coming after a Gold Glove year. Gleyber is a fucking space cadet, and Rizzo is taking a huge step back defensively, and our catchers can't throw anybody out. So, I mean...
the writing's on the wall. When this team is going to face true competitive opponents, that they are in for a rude awakening, and we saw it in this series.
Look, and somebody tweeted at me earlier today and was like, "Well, I'm going to come back at you after the Yankees sweep Detroit. Please do so because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you now what I'm going to tell you if the Yankees sweep the Detroit Tigers over the weekend, which is going to be tough to do because Detroit has a really good pitching staff. So the Yankees don't score runs and are facing a good pitching staff. So they just scored 36 runs in 3 games in Milwaukee and then came back and scored 6 runs in 4 games. So even if they score, win some games here, you got to do it over a long stretch of time for anybody to change their opinion. There's nobody that not even us, sat there and thought that they were going to be this inept offensively after scoring 30 runs in 2 games.
Yeah, and it's funny. The one game they did win. Who was the starting pitcher for Baltimore?
Their best pitcher, Burns.
Well, and what team did he used to play for? Milwaukee. So maybe they just still thought they were in Milwaukee or something
Maybe
for that game.
Even though they only scored 2 runs.
Okay, but they still got the win. Okay.
You saw Wednesday night what Luis Hill can do when Luis Hill throws strikes.
Ooh. Throw strikes. Not only strikes, first pitch strikes. I was trying to keep an eye on that. I wish I wrote some shit down when I was watching.
I got this stat for you.
Give me a good stat.
Milwaukee was the only start of his season thus far where he's allowed more than 3 hits in the game,
which is on.
So that's just
real.
is the definition of a player who is his own worst enemy. So he's the
100%.
He's the one that's going to get in the way of Luis Hill being a great pitcher in this league.
Elite.
It all starts, dude, with that first pitch strike, because then you put the hitters, no pun intended, on their heels a bit, because then they're playing catch up on his nasty stuff. Where if he goes 1-0, yeah, they're playing mustard, they're playing catch up, they're playing sauerkraut. And you know, when he gets ahead, well, then they don't have that luxury of taking the next pitch or waiting for their what they're looking for. He gets ahead and he is in complete control. That needs to be the MO going forward for him. Just establish.
Well,
I don't even care if he lays one right down the middle and if he only allowed 3 hits or more in one start, then lay him down the middle of that first pitch. I don't give a shit and see what happens.
Well, here's the thing. Every pitcher aims to get ahead, right? Every pitcher aims for first pitch strike, but
sure.
To your point, his shit is so devastating. He just doesn't always, he sometimes lacks, more times than not, lacks command of the strike zone. But when he can get ahead, so again, to your point, if he can just fucking throw one down the middle, get the hitters guessing at that point, or put them in defensive mode there and be in charge of the at bat, even if his command isn't as great, his stuff is so good that if they're questioning what's coming and they're off balance, they still look like fools up there. And that's where his success lies. 1
walk, and it didn't come till the 7th inning.
Let me tell you something. What you saw the other night was a guy who has, and you can call me irrational, whatever you want. I've been watching this game for 35 fucking years. Okay? I promise you, Luis Hill, if he puts it all together, is a top 10 pitcher in this league.
He's got the stuff.
He's that good. Of course. That's what I mean by put it all together, because the stuff is some of the best I've seen in a long, long time.
So that was amazing to watch. Hill. Schmidt was great on Monday. Nestor was okay. Good enough to, if the Yankees
win.
Good. Look, if the Yankees offense is what we thought it was coming into the season, it's good enough to win. And then Carlos Rodon took a shit on the mound today.
And guess what, bro? Even if he didn't, they still don't win.
Yes, but 2 things can be independent of each other and still true at the same time.
Of course.
The Yankees, this is one of the few, look, you take the offense out of the equation for a second. They weren't going to win today because they only scored 2 runs, right? Majority of the time, you're not going to win that way. I think Wednesday was the first time that they won all year where they scored 2 or fewer runs. But this is one of the few times during the course of the year that you say they would not have won because of starting pitching.
Right. I agree. But you know what?
Which is a concern for me with him, because we sat here and said, Oakland, Milwaukee, is he turning the corner? Is he going to be that guy? And then he did this today.
Well, look, here's my last
Allowed
thought
3
on-
home runs all year. Allows 3 today. I mean,
Yeah, here's my last thought on just everything we've seen in the last few days. The only thing I could think of, because we've talked about how this team hasn't suffered not having Cole, in a sense of Cole isn't the reason for their 13 losses in any way. The only thing I thought of after today, putting the offense aside, is we expected Cole, or at least Rodon, sorry. We expected Rodon, or at least wanted to see the Rodon that takes charge and says, Cole's down, I'm your guy. And if you want to be that guy, man, not only is this the Orioles, but this is a game where the series is on the line in a 4-game set on the road. Your team has looked fucking disgraceful. You lead the way. This is a game where Garrett Cole takes the ball, and this is what separates him from everyone else. And he says, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to get to my bullpen because I'm not letting up the first run. I'm not letting you take a lead. And Rodon, again, I don't want to just place blame on him because he could have given up 3 runs over 7 innings and still lost, but he let this game get away, and you just can't do that.
No, a major quality of an ace is to stop a losing streak. I think that's what CC Sabathia was always
Absolutely.
really good at. Was when the team was struggling, he would come in and he would kind of just cancel everything out.
Stop
and
the bleeding.
Rodon needs to be that guy right now, especially. But even when Cole comes back,
he got into that bases loaded jam and he got out of it. And I thought maybe like, oh yeah, now that we always want to talk about the buckle down, and thought, yeah, that was great, man. He came back with 2 strikeouts and then he got the pop up or whatever it was. And we thought, all right, yeah, now he's going to settle in. And then he just got blitzed after that. And the thing that you really don't like is that runs are at a premium with this team, right? Volpe had the double there, and it looked like they weren't going to score. And then Rizzo drops one in there. They get the run, and he immediately gives it right back. Immediately. I'm not stupid. I'm not that irrational where I'm like, one run is going to hold up throughout the course of the game, but don't give it right back, knowing how much your team cannot score runs. That's there's nothing more frustrating to me when a starting pitcher does that. Your team scores and they immediately give it back.
yeah, that's a peeve. That's a peeve.
That's a peevy.
A little peevy, a little Jake Peavy.
Do you remember
Okay.
Jake Peavy? Jake Peavy?
I don't
Oh,
remember
God.
Jake Petey.
Was he on the
Was that
Padres?
PED? Okay.
was.
Was he on
Uh-huh.
steroids? Didn't he take PEDs? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. PV, PED. Okay. Coincidence? I don't
So the
think
Yankees are heading home
Back into
now
this.
to hopefully wipe this sour taste out of their mouth and hopefully not get shut out at home, which they have a propensity to do. And like we said,
Good
Detroit's got
word, dude.
and guess what? Detroit's not a pushover. They're 18-13 so far this year, so they have the same amount of losses as the Yankees. And it's Marcus Stroman 7:05 tomorrow night. Or tonight because you'll be listening on Friday. Okay, so it's Marcus Stroman to kick off the series. Then
Okay.
1:05, Schmitty is back on the mound there,
Okay, sure.
and then it'll be 1:35, Nesta against my favorite pitcher in baseball, Tarek Skubal.
Scooble.
I just like saying Skubal,
I like Scooble. I always want him on my team. I could never.
and then the Yankees will finally have an off day.
Yeah, they got an off day and they got to go and take Houston and Tampa right after that. So it's not really a great day off. You're gonna be thinking,
So I would have loved to have celebrated my daughter's birthday today with a Yankee win, but they're bums. Okay, so but
Did
I don't.
you not let her even blow
I
out
didn't give her.
candles?
I didn't give her any presents today. I said Aaron Judge sucks. So until he doesn't, you can't have.
And
yours
and honestly, that's the way to raise a child.
present.
If you ask me,
you got to.
that's the right way to raise
That's the
them.
right.
But you
way.
also need to make sure that they're making those birthday wishes because I think I was maybe making my birthday wishes in the 90s that I wish the Yankees would win a World Series.
That
And
was definitely
maybe
my wish most of the time.
so who knows if that might have something to do with it.
No, but Chris will tell you. He's got 7 kids now.
Who,
Something
me?
like that. He's
Yeah,
like
you.
cheaper by the dozen over there.
Cheaper by it. Yeah. Okay. These last 4 years have they've been a blur. So crazy to think about how fast time goes
Goes fast.
when you're trying to get it to slow down. But happy birthday to my beautiful little girl, and hopefully the Yankees will make me happy with them and at least pick up a series win over here with Detroit over the course of the weekend here. And what would make me the happiest is if you subscribe to the NYYST podcast wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to NYY Underground on YouTube and make sure you tell everybody we are the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey. I want to thank you for your continued support of the NYYST podcast. And thank you very much for listening to episode 385 SGR.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. Bought a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I've been up next. Can't take calls, but I send that text. From way downtown, but the shit's still wet.